Welcome to the latest episode of the Target Practice Podcast with Charlie Jewett and Bobby Alford. This show is for insurance agents who are ready to earn more target premium by growing their practices. In addition, Charlie and Bobby will share strategies on how you can elevate your business and provide an exceptional customer experience. Now here are your hosts, Charlie and Bobby.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Target Practice Podcast. I'm Bobby Alford here with Charlie Jewett, and today's episode is all about lead generation through events or through event marketing, getting butts in seats so they listen to you. And we're going to go through a few things today, talk about what's out there in the market, talk about really Charlie's backstory, because this is where he cut his teeth, and he's been through a lot of them. We're going to talk through the pros and cons, because everything has pros and cons. And ultimately, it all works if it works for you, right? And that's where I'll tee it up for Charlie. But this is his backstory in his wheelhouse, so I'm going to give it to him to kind of throw it out to you.
And it's one of the theme messages that we're going to talk about all the time, really, because I think it's the truth, the most important truth that we've discovered is, if somebody wants a steak for $17, this doesn't matter how they end up in the restaurant. Like, what marketing got them to walk in the door and look at the menu? When they go, I want a steak, and they look at the menu and it's $17 or whatever, they're going to buy the steak. There is no way to fail with that type of a, quote, lead, okay? But that's because you have what they want for the price they want and got them into the seat. Got butts and seats, right? So the message that I give, the reason we focus so much on sales skills, closing is a terrible word, but how do you comparison, the art of comparisons in this industry. We're really not selling. You're not trying to get somebody to buy a used car they don't need or whatever that's a piece of crap. You're showing them there are better options than what they have. Like, what they have right now can't get them what they want, and there's something else better. And in our industry, it actually doesn't cost any money. It's not even $17. It's not even $17, right? So you're going from inferior to superior. So we have an incredible advantage. Like, we're literally selling free benefits for free. Now, it doesn't mean it's an easy industry, but if you're good at what you do when a human shows up, you can lead them through explaining what it is that you do professionally, asking them for their numbers, getting the numbers, and then presenting their options. You're going to make money on every type of marketing possible. This is my style. Like, you should match your marketing to your style. I'm a speaker. I'm a teacher. I'm a connector. There's an energy to me that you can see sometimes on video, but in person, there's more. You know what I mean? There's something about humans. They say you could feel Bruce Lee, you walk into a room. I'm not Bruce Lee, but I work a room well and can communicate, okay?
So you're Bruce Lee. You're Bruce Lee.
Hey, whoa! the one inch close, or whatever, the 1 inch retirement close, right? I'm going to master, that's my next book, the 1 inch close, right? The 1 inch app. Well, they're about an inch now, the applications, good Lord, right? So here's how I started my career. I learned from a guy named Douglas Andrews. He wrote a book called Misfortune 101. There's all kinds of wonderful news about Doug Andrews, and then people that are mad at him. None of that even matters. The stuff that Doug Andrews writes, his ability to teach and communicate is incredible. I learned so much from Doug, and he literally is the reason that I went from what I was to making over $400,000 as a rookie in my first year. Was his information, his message, right? Well, Doug used to run newspaper advertisements to fill a hotel room and do a 3.5 hour seminar with no food. 3.5 hours with no food starting at like 7. So it went to 10:30 and people still came. I started there. Then I found that there were companies, Response Mail Express, there's a number of them. We're not getting paid by anybody or recommending you use one or the other. I actually don't think it matters. Aspire is another one. I think there's a bunch. Any company that can put butts in seats, white glove, right? If they can pay and get people in front of you, like if you can outsource that part. Frank Sinatra did not put the people in the seats. He sang. He walked on the stage and did Frank Sinatra, right? You don't see Rihanna and the Rolling Stones like trying to hustle tickets out in the front or whatever. They show up as a performer I liked that better. People that love marketing may want to do the marketing and partner with a speaker like me if they don't like the speaking, right? There's room for everybody. I didn't want to do the marketing. I do marketing well, but I didn't want to do both of them, especially in the beginning of my career. So I just paid companies, and they'd say, give us 3 dates and give us $10,000 or whatever, $12,000. We'll send out mailers. You got to pay for dinner too, blah, blah, blah. So the mailers were $3,000-$4,000. The dinner was $6,000-$7,000. It was like $10,000-$12,000, right? I'm okay with that because I'm an investor. I don't know that you should, if you're 2 months into the industry and have never closed a sale, I don't think you should spend $12,000 and hope you can speak well, right? But for people that are experienced communicators, it's fine. So I would pay and put butts in seats and stand up and do my thing. And I'm sure my first seminar was worse than the one I did recently. I'm sure I've gotten better, but that doesn't matter, Bobby, because it's who's in the room, why they're there. Let's not get too spiritual about it, but you don't have to be that good. If the person is there through fate on purpose, they need what you have. They're going to find themselves in the message, and you're going to get business if you're supposed to. If that client needs you and you're supposed to have that client, it's going to happen, okay? You want to be in motion, adding value. In motion, adding value. Do something. Get in front of someone and say something, and then make it better as you go, and you can make more money and help more people. So I would stand up to a room of 20, 30 people, 3 nights, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Get them excited. The entire reason to have a seminar is to get people to like you. It's not to teach all the information. You don't want to be technical. It's just get people like you. Tell stories, show some pictures. I know people that try to limit it to 10 pictures and 3 stories or whatever. Like very little information. Let them eat steak, drink wine, get some dopamine and say, you want to talk to me? You know what I mean? Like you're basically just selling appointments after the fact. Now, you can also buy appointments, which we'll talk about on another episode. You can just buy appointments, people to talk to that haven't seen you speak, right? Or haven't watched a video, or you can fill webinars, whatever. But these events, now today, during COVID, by the way, which we're sort of coming out of as we record this, but during COVID, events were troublesome. Like, who's going to go to an event when they're afraid they're going to die? It wasn't the thing for a year or two. And now they're beginning to come back. So it is one of the options. We're having events now that we're filling, right? Events are a way to spend money. We talk about this. You either spend money or you spend time. If you go to Joe Stumpf by referral only, Brian Buffini, in some ways Dan Allison. Brian Buffini owns a company, Buffini and Company's referrals company. If you go to Dan Allison for focused advisor, focus groups, and I can't remember what he calls the other name for it, but if you're using time talking to people to get them to send you referrals or to get in front of them, or you're going into offices and trying to get through that's a time strategy. Saves you money, but it takes a lot of your time. My time is precious to me and I don't like doing those things, so I just would always pay. I'm an investor. I want to spend 12 and make 60, right? So I would pay. Today, you have the same companies, mailers. You know what I mean? Do we have to send more mailers to get the same number of people in the room than we did before? The answer is yes. It's still just math. If you're crying because you have to spend $14,000 to make 60 and it used to be 11, you're in the wrong industry, man. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Like that's not how this works. The numbers are the numbers, right? Like gas prices are up as we record this. I haven't stopped driving. The numbers are the numbers. I might not schedule my trip around the country until gas prices come down, a driving trip, right? But I'm not hiding in my home because right. So Marketing goes up. All it is what does it cost me to get what I want? What does it cost me to get what I want? I promise you, if you learn how to sell the things that we sell, deliver the solutions that we deliver that are going to pay $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a family without them spending a penny, just going from inferior to superior, the cost of marketing doesn't matter. It's real. You got to wait the 3 or 4 months and get through sales and underwriting. That's heavy. It's not my favorite, but the numbers will work out. 100% of what I've tried, I believe, has worked. If it generated humans and they would talk to me, we made money. The numbers work in our industry.
To add on to that, I think a couple takeaways from what Charlie just said. Number one is find where you fit in this process. Because if you're a person that enjoys marketing but isn't a charismatic speaker like Charlie, maybe you are the marketer that puts butts in seats. And that's where you make you cut your teeth in this industry and you fill the room for Charlies and things like that are out there. If you are the charismatic speaker, the one who brings the energy, the one who can tell stories, then flip that equation, right? It doesn't matter as long as you figure out what lights you up and where you fit. Number one, that to me, all of this works if it fits you. And then number two, I would say, is it comes down to the marketing dollars, the investment versus time, right? We have people on our team right now who they don't have as much money. They don't have the ability to put the dollars in to market, but they have the ability to put the time in. So they handle some of our leads and get butts in seats on that end. So there's a way that you can partner with people, build your reserve, your bank account, right? That you can invest, that you can do those things, and you can get going. Like we say all the time, you have time or you have money. You don't always have both. And in the beginning, you have more time than money. And in the later years, you have more money than time. So being able to invest in yourself with a 90-day return on investment, that's huge. I think with our team members around the country, we've probably had the lowest amount one of those seminars has produced is less $40,000. And that's a $10,000 investment. And then on the back end, those other seminars have produced $200,000 for the same $10,000. So if you know you're getting your money back plus more, it's just a matter of, do I invest time or money? Because at that point, the ROI is there every single time. And you can lean on the systems that are out there. Like, we'll name drop all these things. We've tried a few of them. But what's out there at the moment you listen to this may be different than when we record it, right? But we have educational institutions, FIAs. We have the David McKnight's got seminars going. We have Doug Andrew probably still has his seminars going. There's a lot of webinars now, like you said, because of COVID. There's different methods. But the point is, if this fits you, if you bring the energy, if you're a storyteller, if you can connect, once there's butts in seats, this is a home run. All of these marketing avenues are home runs if you are the right person for that marketing avenue. For Charlie, this is his wheelhouse. For me, I like to be in person as well, but I'm more of a one-on-one kind of conversation. So after the seminar, I can take the conversations that he does and I can make them worth more to us as a company on one-on-one connecting. So there's parts of all of these that you can find yourself in, but figuring out where you want to be becomes the key. Would you agree?
Give an example. Yeah, I have a friend, incredible advisor, maybe better connector than me. I'm not that great one-on-one. It's not that I don't like people. It doesn't bring me energy to sit and have the conversation. And the one-on-one, what you really need to do in sales is ask a lot of questions and listen and make them feel incredible. It's a perception management. You're delivering an emotion to them that they feel comfortable. And I'm there wanting to do all the talking because I'm a teacher. Right? I don't want to ask you questions. I want to teach, right? So I'm a great presenter, and I tolerate the appointments enough to make money. Now I don't do them. You do them, right? So I have a friend. He has money, plenty of money. He's incredible with clients, has a beautiful office in Chicago. Does not speak. He doesn't speak. He probably could speak. He's charismatic. He does not speak. And a while back, like 5 years ago, we've known each other for a long time. He said, why don't we partner up? Why don't you come speak in Chicago? So I was going 4, 5, 6 times a year, and I would speak, and we'd use some of the branding to help with the fill the room, right? And I'd stand up, and he'd be there, and I'm there. He'd introduce me, and we'd talk about our partnership, and I'd deliver the stories and the education and get everybody excited, and then they would eat, and we'd both go around and connect and get appointments and get the forms. And then I would leave because I don't live in Chicago. I would leave. And he would do these appointments. People would show up one after another in his office, and he's so good. And our arrangement during that time was I got 30% for speaking and supporting by video or whatever and using my branding, and he did he paid up front. He was the bank. So if we paid whatever, the first, $18,000 that came in went to him because they were Gibson Steakhouse. The first $18,000 went to him, and then we split the rest 30-70. I got 30 and he got 70. That partnership is still going today. It's a really good example of, what costs you money in this type of an industry? You have to understand, no one makes a car from scratch. It's an assembly line. You got these people that do the first part, these people do the second part, right? This is an industry where you start and you're supposed to be good at all of it. Okay, you got your license with no experience. Go generate a lead, then flip over and gather their financial data, then go compare it, then build a new plan, then communicate it well, and then get the paperwork, and then manage the underwriting, all of that. Like, keep them happy for 3 or 4 months, and time is terrible in sales. Who's good at who's good at the entire assembly line? Basically no one. So what costs you money in this industry is the part you're not good at.
Yep.
Many people have giant O, little, or giant C, little o. Huge capability. If they had 40 appointments a week, they could close a lot of them. They don't have any opportunity. Big C, capability, little o, no opportunity. There's people generate crap tons of leads and go, marketing doesn't work because they can't close. They're terrible, right? Partnering, like maybe you end up good at everything, but one of the best ways to make money is just partnering. And that's probably a good place for us to leave it is if you have tons of money and you're an incredible speaker and closer and you're a great connector, just go solo, man. We'll tell you what company. Use White Glove, use Afia, use can't remember what the one's called, Society for Financial Advisors or whatever, SOFA, use RME, use Aspire. There's going to be other ones, right? It doesn't matter. Like you'll find the one you like, but if they can put butts in seats and you're a good communicator, you're going to make money. If you're not, find the one you're good at. Now, it's going to be hard to say, no, I'm a great closer. Give me 40,000. You know, I mean, it's going to be hard to be that person. But if you're the person that's like, no, I have money to invest, I need a great closer. Great closers with 5, 10, 15 years experience are easy to test if they're a good closer or not. Go watch one of their workshops or see their results, you know. That's easier. But event marketing is my favorite. It works very well. It's not super leveraged. You know what I mean? You can't sit on your butt at home and do webinars, but it works incredibly well.
Yeah, and I think we'll end it here, and maybe in the future, after we go through all of these different lead gen areas, maybe a good overview of the types of partnerships we've seen is something we can add to the list. Like, hey, within our company alone, we've got these partnerships and those partnerships and these things. And ultimately, it becomes where do you fit, and then building around that and supplementing your weaknesses. And that's where we'll end it here. But all of this works when you work. I'm Bobby Alford. He's Charlie Jewett, and this is Target Practice Podcast. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Target Practice Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you have time, please subscribe to the podcast and consider rating and reviewing the show. We'd sure appreciate it. And for show notes, resources, and to connect, shoot on over to targetpracticepodcast.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next time on the Target Practice Podcast.